Okay, well, let's finish up. So let's do the secondary wires, and we're just going to cut a couple of pieces of the red shrink. And caution everyone, it's really important you get the correct pairs matched up, or you'll actually configure the secondary in a different electrical configuration, and you won't have the correct voltage or current. So, yeah, in fact, I'm going to show this to you just so that you understand what we're talking about. So there's a pair of windings on the primary side that allow for a universal connection for a high voltage and a low voltage region. Well, guess what? There's a pair of windings on the secondary side as well that allow for two configurations. So we can go with a higher voltage, lower current capability by running these in series, just like this, but over on this side. Or if we need more current capability and not so much voltage, we can parallel them. And that's what we're going to do, because what we're doing, we're building a power amp and we need current. And one of the good things about the 6AS7 6080 tube is that it actually runs really efficiently at a lower voltage. Mm-hmm. And it can push current. So that's why we're going to be configuring this in a parallel configuration. So, and that's why it's so important that we get the black and orange connected up.
So we're going to do those first, and then it's going to be hard to mess up the other pair since there'll only be 2 wires left.
Yeah.
And let's start off by getting the shrink mounted on there.
Thanks, Charles.
And let's put the other one on the other pair while we're at it.
Hey, I was ahead of you. This guy thinks ahead. He's a really difficult chess opponent. I have to have all my marbles all in the right line, all marching in the same direction upstairs to have a hope at beating him. So we're going to be doing a little bit bigger of a strip back because we're going to be twisting and then tinning. So it's going to be something like this.
It's roughly about 12 millimeters, maybe half an inch.
In fact, after we strip it, I'm going to get you a dimension because we're so used to doing this that we just do it without even measuring. So that is about 5/8 of an inch, which is about 15 millimeters. So, but don't get stressed about it. Anything close is going to work just fine. And if you do your strip a little bit too short and you think, I should have done a little longer, well, guess what? You
can go back in and do it a little longer.
Do it a little longer, yeah. Okay, so we're going to put a light twist on this. Going to get our soldering iron on. Or I'm going to remind it to wake up. We use one of these auto-off soldering irons, and I highly recommend them. Now, we're going to be tinning. So we're going to be fairly cool around 350 C, which is 660 Fahrenheit, and we're going to see how that works. We're also coming in like this, so we want to just check the fit, and the wires are actually running really good together. So we're going to make a gentle little cross here, and a little twist.
And when you do solder these together, you don't want to have a large clump or a large solder ball on them because they have to fit in that blue terminal.
Yes, and you got in ahead of me, Charles, and thanks for reminding everybody. So look what I've done. I've only done a very gentle twist, and I have a really tight bundle. You can't have a bulky bundle or they won't fit into the terminal. So let's start off by grabbing a little piece of scrap, because I don't want to muck up my work here. And we're going to get a little bit of flux on that. Now you might think that looks a little long, and it is. And we're going to trim it down in a minute once we get it all together. So
better to have it too long and trim it than not long enough and have to redo all the work.
Okay, now for tinning, you want a really clean tin tip, so I'm actually going to clean it off now. And look at that, that's just gorgeous. And you're going to preload it with solder. And you're going to just come in like this. Now, it's a fair chunk of wire, so it will take a little bit for it to warm up, and then it starts to fill. See that? So I'm just going very lightly. I think one of the hardest things to understand when you're doing a splice or a tinning, and this is sort of a bit of both, is that you actually want to come in lightly with the heat. So you don't actually want to put a lot of heat fast on here, and in fact you can actually bring the soldering iron on and off your bundle a little bit to control the temperature. In fact, years ago, that's how professional soldering stations were operated. They didn't have much in the way of temperature controlled irons.
So it was more about the time that you spent on something.
Yeah, so you would come in and you would get off. You'd come in and you get off. Okay, that's getting boring. So let's just finish this one up and see how it all goes together. So the next step is to get the shrink in place, and you want to get it up and onto that wire a little bit so that you're covered over this joint here. And that'll just help reinforce everything. If the wire's a little bent, just straighten it up. Okay, go ahead and get that shrunk and I'll see you back. Okay, so now we're going to fit it. Now you can see that it's way too long, and that's just fine because we're just going to come in here. And I've got a nubbins here. Look at that. And that's probably going to be a pain in the butt later on if we have to remove the wire. So I'm just going to come in here with the side of my iron, and I'm just going to pick that up and smooth it off.
Now, if that was just a little wire whisker, you could also come in with the snips and just trim it off if it's just a single one.
So let's start a little bit long because I don't want to have to redo this. And let's see how that fits. So I want it to slide into the barrel like that and almost be totally in. And it's just a hair long. So I'm going to just take a nubbins off. You're going to need a small slot screwdriver, and a lot of them are too wide here, right at the waist of the driver. So if you've got a screwdriver that's like that, just take it to a belt sander or take a little file to it and just take that down. You can see I took a little bit off that edge. And I think, Charles, we're ready to assemble, aren't we? We can go ahead and put this on?
Yeah, let's go ahead and put that on. And then we can do the all-important tug test.
Yeah, so snug that down, and now just check to see if we're on good, and we are. So the yellow and the red side, which will be going here on the other end of the blue junction, is done exactly the same way. So
go ahead and take care of that, and we'll see you back here in a second.
So let me show you something. So I managed to not get my wires parallel somehow. Don't ask me how, but it happened. It happens. So when I come in like this, look at that. That's just not right. So what I need to do is I need to find that point where the yellow wire should have met the red and trim the red back to that point. And because we had a nice little sweep and lots of extra space, lots of extra wire, we've got plenty of room to fix this without any problems at all, if we can get the strip. And we can. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to twist that big bundle like this, and I'm going to do that again, and now it's fitting much, much better. And I'm going to trim that extra bit off, and now we're back to where we should be. Okay, hop to it, everyone. Okay, so we've got a nice long piece of
twisted wire that's been tinned.
And I got a little nubbins here. I'm going to see if I can get rid of that. And that looks pretty good. Let's check for fit. It's probably a touch long. And it is. So I'm just going to take a little bit more off. And I've got a little bit of something there. I'm just going to heat it up and just smooth that out a little bit. There, that's better. I'm going to let it cool for a second before I clamp it down, and yeah, that's looking pretty good.
Okay. I'll get yours tighten down, and then we'll see you in the next episode. Good job, everyone.